So this is the slide, and I think I actually have this slide in each of my presentations, so I won't spend too much time on it. But it's actually very, very key, and over these last years, we've filled out more of these areas. We've made each of these areas richer than maybe in our V1 release. The very key point, though, is the part in the circle is basically the centralized back office for everything that touches retail. So whether it's your traditional brick and mortar stores, whether it's your e-commerce website, if you have mobile channels for being able to have consumer apps to be able to purchase, we know that trends are showing that is becoming much more popular, and actually in many cases it's expected that it's already there. From catalog management, working directly with consumers, in some cases some B2B kind of scenarios into corporate accounts, and then everything on the back end, from warehouse management to financials to supply chain, merchandising, customer relations. It goes on and on and on for what the solution covers from a breadth perspective. I try to keep this slide as unintimidating as possible. So they're big blocks instead of using all of the kind of the technical details here. But it's really not that bad. These are all of the different technical components that make up the solution. So on the left-hand side where it says Retail HQ, that's the back office solution. It's built on Dynamics for AX, which is an ERP solution. So it has core financials. It's strong in merchandising. It's strong in warehouse management and supply chain management. We build retail functionality into that, and that becomes your retail headquarters, and that becomes Dynamics for Retail on the back office side. The orange and purple pieces are our communications pieces. So again, their names make them maybe a bit more intimidating than they need to be. They're actually pretty simple and pretty straightforward. CDX stands for Commerce Data Exchange. Last year I would have been calling this Store Connect, so we've renamed some things, and at times I may slip and use the old name. But this comes in two flavors, purple and orange. The purple one would be your asynchronous data replication. And so this is basically, this is the heavy lifting, where product information, configuration information, prices, all of that information comes out of the back office and gets sent down to all the channels, whether it's a brick and mortar store or whether it's your online store. It happens on a schedule, basically. So periodically, data is moved from the back office out to the channels, or from the channels to the back office when we're talking about, say, sales information. The orange piece is the real-time communications. So there are certain things that happen where we need to be able to talk back to headquarters without waiting for the next scheduled connection. Even if that next scheduled connection is in a couple minutes, when you have a customer standing in front of you, you can't wait for that kind of time. So the orange is real time, and what we can do there is we can query back and forth, and we can read and write data back and forth into headquarters from any of those channels in real time. And that was previously called transaction services, and now it's CDX real-time services. Moving to the right of the slide are basically some examples of the clients. So we have our point-of-sale client. As we talk about some of the sessions, I believe later today, we'll talk more about the web client, and we'll talk more about our mobile clients in a new concept called retail server. But basically, once the data comes from the back office, goes through CDX and into the channels, various clients will consume that data. So most commonly, it's your traditional brick and mortar point of sale, and that's basically the various components that live out there. Clicking. Oh, there's some animations I failed to realize there. So this piece here is kind of our secret to omni-channel from the client perspective. So we have Dynamics for Retail in the back office, and we know that allows you to manage all aspects of all channels, all aspects of your retail business. But when you do get out into the channels, that needs to be omni-channel also. And the secret to that is the CRT, the blue box that's found within each of these channels. So whether it's your e-commerce on SharePoint or the traditional point of sale, or something new that I'll be talking about later, retail server, we need to have that consistent experience throughout all of those. And so CRT stands for Commerce Runtime, and it's basically the business rules from the traditional brick and mortar point of sale that have been extracted out into its own component that can now be hosted elsewhere. So it could be hosted and within SharePoint for e-commerce, or it can be hosted within the retail server to be able to drive various clients, whether it's the Surface or the phone Michael showed you, or whether it's a thin client that an ISV develops, or maybe it's for an iPhone or an Android phone. Retail server basically enables that kind of capabilities, but with the same business rules, the same data access capabilities across all of the channels. Oops. So this kind of shows the all-up stack with a slightly different pivot to it. So again, the bottom gray is the back office piece and all the different capabilities that brings. And then we kind of have our three pillars of the e-commerce channel, and then kind of two flavors of retail server. So one would be the in-store instance of retail server, and then one would be the potential of being able to host that retail server, say, in Azure or something like that. But the fact that it's the CRT across the middle, regardless of what's on the other end. So with that, I'll get into the demo, and I'll be able to show quite a bit more about these different components and how they work together. I don't need Michael to help me here. I can figure this one out. That doesn't surprise me. Honestly, it's no excuses. It's the video driver on this laptop. It has nothing to do with the projector. It's a very flaky video driver, but I think I'm good now. It doesn't like switching back and forth between things. Okay, so where we're going to start is going to be within the back office. And so this is Dynamics for Retail. It's built on AX. A lot of what you'll see here you may have seen before. I showed some aspects of this last year, and I don't know how familiar you are with Dynamics for Retail, but this is going to kind of be the overview session, and then we have a session that drills down into mobility, a session that drills down into e-commerce, a session that drills down into our plans for SMB, or Next-Gen RMS, and then we have another session for, from a developer experience and what the different capabilities and tools are there. So within AX, I have a retail area page. From within that retail area page are all of the different areas that you need to be able to manage your retail channels. And so that's a good place to start with in the demo. So you can see retail channels is kind of the super type, and then we have subtypes of retail stores, which would be your brick and mortar stores, online stores, so out of the box, that would be for the SharePoint site that Michael showed. And then online marketplaces would be, say, for third-party marketplaces like eBay or Amazon. So being able to publish content into those third-party marketplaces, be able to get those orders back into Dynamics for Retail and fulfill them just as you would if they were coming from your own web store. If we look into the retail stores here, now this is basically just a list of all of the stores that have been configured, and you can go into the stores. I think I'm the Seattle store. And manage all of the different aspects of the store centrally. So I can't stress enough the strength of the solution when it comes to centralized management. So all aspects of the system are managed from within the back office. So in this case, I can specify how a store is going to work, all of the different configuration options from which taxes are going to apply, to which payment methods are accepted, to how it's going to connect to the back office through the Commerce Data Exchange is all configured centrally. So you don't need to be able to have someone on site to make these changes. You make that change here, the data flows, and then the channels can consume that data. When we talk about omni-channel, we kind of treat all channels as equally as we can. So whether it's a brick and mortar store or an e-commerce store, they're all just channels when it comes to most of the scenarios and most of the functionality that we have. So we kind of abstract that a bit, and we allow you to create different hierarchies to be able to work with those channels in groups. If you've got many, many stores across different regions, maybe different types of stores, to have to work with each individual store over and over again is not very efficient. So we use organizational hierarchies to do this. You can create as many hierarchies as you'd like and use them for however you'd like to use them. So an example would be, say, our retail stores by business unit. So now this is an example of a hierarchy that was created from our sample data, where our sample data is, tries to be a little bit of everything to everybody, where we have electronics stores, we have sporting goods stores, and we have fashion stores, all within the same legal entity. And so by creating an organizational hierarchy where I can group the stores by their business type, or in this case, whether it's electronics, sporting goods, or fashion, I can now use this when, say, planning a product assortment. So which products are going to be available? I can use this hierarchy and I can just select all electronic stores rather than having to remember which the stores that those products are going to go to. I could create another one by region. So in this case, rather than going by the type of store, I've got East, West, Central. And now I can do things like if I'm going to do replenishment or if I'm going to do pricing, I can do that based on the stores within this group rather than the type of store that would be reflected by the hierarchy. So underneath the stores are the registers. So within each store, you can define which terminals or which registers are in there. I'll find my Seattle store again. And again, centrally, I can control all aspects of each terminal within a store as well. Things like the hardware profile. So if I open up a hardware profile, you can see you can create as many of these as you'd like. In this case, I have an example where I have Generation 1 hardware and Generation 2 hardware. So maybe as I'm rolling out all my stores, my hardware changes. I believe, a question? Yes? Software updates centrally is the question. Can you do software updates centrally? So the Commerce Data Exchange moves data only. So if you need to move binaries or something like that, then we typically use something like Intune or System Center. We have a kind of an add-on pack that's coming out that'll make that much easier to be able to manage and monitor the retail stores using System Center. But in our labs and when we do retail simulations in our labs, that's what we use to deploy the bits, and then we'll also deploy patches that way to be able to test that out. So when it comes to the hardware configuration, though, the hardware profiles make this much easier. So if I have, like my example would be different generations of hardware that's out there in the field, I can set those up as different profiles. I can assign those profiles to the stores. And now as I need to make a change here, I could make the change once, and that's going to apply to all the registers that use this profile. So which printer it is, or how the receipt's going to print, if there's a cash drawer or multiple cash drawers, all of that is configured centrally, gets pushed out to the stores, and no one needs to be on site to be able to make those changes happen. Also within the store, we have workers, staff members. So AX has kind of full-fledged HRM capabilities of being able to create positions, hire employees, assign them to various companies and give them different roles, all within AX, as well as time and attendance. So what we've done here is we've taken, from a retail perspective, and we've taken those workers and we've given them the ability to be, say, a cashier or a manager within the store. I happen to know the number of the guy that I typically use. So as I define this worker, you can go into the Retail tab and then specify the information that's relevant from a retailer's perspective. In this case, we have a couple interesting things to point out. And one would be the language. So the solution is translated in 38 languages out of the box, or actually 38 countries, which actually is more languages than that. Basically, a store can have a language, and then each user within that store can have a language. So as a user that speaks French logs in, then the UI would switch to be in their language versus a user that logs in that their language is English. The other aspect that can be role-based is the till layout. So when we talk about the point-of-sale UI, it's a very important point to mention that that's all data-driven. So that's also controlled from the back office. I can completely define my user interface from the point-of-sale from the back office, push that data down to the stores, and then that becomes the user interface at the stores. That can be done at a store level, where everybody in the store uses the same layout. That can be done at a terminal level. So if I have a register off in the back that's only used for returns, or maybe it's only used for checking in merchandise or something like that, you can use different layouts for those. Or it can be user-based. So in this case, I'm a manager, so I'm going to get the manager layout versus a cashier that gets the cashier layout. When we talk about those layouts being managed from the back office, this is an example from our sample data. Again, we try to be a bit of everything to everyone. So we've got Contoso, which is our sample electronics, AdventureWorks, which is our sample sporting goods, and Fabricam, which is our sample apparel, kind of all within one database. But I'll probably mostly be using AdventureWorks in this session. So if I look at the cashier's user interface within the designer, this is drag and drop capabilities for being able to design exactly what is shown to the user when they log in. So I can go into my design mode. And now that I'm in design mode, I can drag and drop different elements around. So if I wanted to be able to, maybe I don't track customer information, so that's just wasted space on the UI. I can actually just completely remove that element and save that change and then send that down to the store. Or if I want to change what a particular button does, if I don't have my scroll bar here, I'll do it here then. If I want to change what a particular button does, in this case, this button is actually doing a search. So when I press this apparel button, it's going to show me all the products within an apparel company by doing a search. But you can see that you can change what each of these buttons do, and it's all just through the UI. No code has to be written. It's all done centrally and then pushed out to the stores. And those changes take effect right away. So next time the user logs in, they would have the changes to this layout. So this would be my point of sale logged in as the manager. And again, this is just a layout. This layout could be completely different with different colors, different graphics, different UI elements based on the design that I had done. This is just what's in our sample data. So when I log in as a manager, kind of the manager tasks are what's going to be up front. But the manager can also sell as well, so they can get into the sales button grids to be able to ring up items or perform that search that I mentioned before. Where you can search for products by clicking on a button. If I log off from this user and log in as another, see the UI will switch around. Now I'm a cashier, so it goes directly into the sales. I don't have access to those manager functions because it's not within my layout. So if I wanted to do a simple sales transaction, obviously if I had a scanner attached, I could scan an item. If I know the item number, I always sell my yoga mat, I can just type that in and add it. We've done some improvements in search within this release. So if I wanted to say search for products that have to do with baseball, I can do my search and it'll search across items, categories, and customers, do a customer search as well. So in this case, I found an item that has baseball within the description. I also found the baseball category. So drilling down into the baseball category will then show all of the products within that category. I can also view product details information this way. So as you can see the image for the product as you scroll through, make sure it's the correct product that you're looking for. Going into product details will show you additional information about this product. This is also new in this release. In this case, I don't have any attributes defined for the water bottle. The electronics store we do does, but it could be, how many megapixels for a camera, how much memory does this laptop have. It could be different specs or attributes to further describe the product and to give that information to the cashier that the consumer already has, say on their phone or on their browser at home. You can also set up buttons that just sell the item directly. So for quick service or things that don't have barcodes, you can just go ahead and add products to the transaction that way. The payment methods, in this case, this is just another button grid that's been added to the design that has kind of the buttons to initiate each payment. This is all controlled from the back office also. So not only which payment methods are available, but how those payment methods behave, because we know that card processing is different from region to region or from locale to locale, or which payment methods might be available could be even different from terminal to terminal. Maybe some terminals are charge only. But in this case, I can go in and do a cash amount to complete the sale. And cash drawer opens, receipt prints, you know the drill there. Yes? Yeah, so the question there is if this is the same view that you would see on the Surface. So this is a Win32 app written in C#. So on the Surface RT that only runs, say, ARM-based applications, you would not be able to run this point of sale. On a Surface Pro, or I know Samsung, Asus, Acer makes really nice tablets that basically run Windows 8 Pro or Windows 7, or basically something that can run x86 compiled applications, then you could run this on those. And that's actually, when we show it on, say, like the Samsung tablet or on the Surface Pro, we can actually show both. So we can show kind of the WinRT or the ARM, which would be kind of the clienteling app that Michael showed, or it could be the rich client can run all on the same device. It works quite well that way. I'm actually going to go back into the back office again to talk a bit about some of the merchandising capabilities. So when we talk about merchandising from a retail perspective within the solution, it's basically everything that you need to do to be able to make that product ready for sale. So if it's product management of, say, creating a product, defining the product's attributes, categorizing the product, enriching the product with those specifications or those images, pricing and promotions for those products, all can happen, again, centrally, and it can be pushed down to the various stores. So the key to that is our category hierarchies. So again, if you've got thousands and thousands of products, which most retailers do, you don't want to be working with products at the individual SKU level. You want to be able to work with products at the group level. So if you're familiar with RMS, which most of you are, we've got departments and categories as a fixed 2-level deep hierarchy. In this case, you can actually have as many levels deep as you'd like. So I think our sample data here goes to 4 levels deep, but you could actually keep going. You can modify this hierarchy and keep going however deep you'd like to go into that hierarchy. And then the other thing is that you can have multiple hierarchies. So in this case, I've got maybe my main merchandising hierarchy that I use. You can also create supplemental hierarchies. So supplemental hierarchies can be used for, say, pricing. I want to put all of these items on clearance, so I'm going to create a hierarchy to do that. Or I'm going to do seasonal products. I can create hierarchies to be able to do that. Or you could do a brand hierarchy. You could do basically however you need to use those hierarchies, whether it's for assortment planning or for pricing or for reporting, you can create as many of those hierarchies, and those hierarchies can be n levels deep. To make it as easy to use throughout all the various aspects of the solution. So if I go back into my main hierarchy, though, it does have some special capabilities that a regular supplemental hierarchy doesn't have, and that's the ability to set up product defaults at the category level. So the thinking here is that if I'm creating men's shirts products, that there's going to be a lot of attributes to these that are going to be very similar. So as I set up new products, they can just automatically inherit these values. So basically, if I'm talking about a size group, this could be my standard men's shirts size group. And so now again, as I create each product, I don't have to set this up over and over and over. So it could be from taxation, whether it's a scale product or not, whether it's a serialized product, all the different aspects that the system needs for being able to track the item properly, as well as use it in any of the clients, say point of sale or the web client, can all be done at the category level. As new products are created, it automatically inherits those values, which is great for creating new products, but you can also update products this way as well. If I came in and I wanted to change that this products in this category can't be discounted. I can actually use this to update products as well. So I can come into here and I can choose any of the attributes from the category that I can then push back down through all the products that are within those categories or even the subcategories under that one. So you could actually make this change at the top node and push that all the way down. So now that I've defined my categories, I've set some default values for the products, and I've created new products, the next thing that we'll want to do is to assort those products, which is basically what we use to determine which products are available where. So assortments, you can have as many assortments as you'd like, and that allows you to kind of set them up however you'd like them to be. So in our sample data, we have a couple different examples here. From a very simple perspective, we just have an assortment called electronics, and it has all of the electronics stores in it, and they carry all of the electronics products. If you look at some of the ones for AdventureWorks, we have different assortments for different types of stores that they are. So if it's a superstore, then they're just basically going to get all of the products that would go to the sporting goods store. If I'm looking at a mall store, maybe has smaller square footage, they're only going to get certain categories, and I can exclude other categories. So assortments can be done at a category level. So if I wanted to modify this one, I can add a line here, and I can choose a category of products that I'm going to make available there. Maybe I wanted to try out some electronics within my sporting goods stores. I could go in and I could say, well, maybe cameras make sense in the sporting goods store. So I can actually add this category here. And then the next time that the data gets replicated, then those products will be made available at that store as well. So you can do that at the category level, or you can do it at the product level. Oops. So you can go down to the individual product to do this as well. So in our Add Products dialog, you can use the hierarchy to narrow your selection. So if I wanted to just get some of the electronics to add to the assortment, I can make my selections here and add those into the assortment, one product at a time. You can even go down into the granularity of the different variants. So if I'm talking about a product with variants, or what you'd be familiar with calling a matrix item, I could actually choose just individual sizes or colors that are going to be available or not available. They can be excluded as well. Assortments can be in draft mode. So basically, as you're defining your assortment, nothing's actually happening to the stores. And then you can publish an assortment, and an assortment has an effective date. So you can work out the assortment months or weeks in advance, and then once that date rolls around, those products are available at the store. Pricing and discounts. If I go in and view my individual products here, you can see here's my hierarchy again. Rather than just a big flat list of products, I can use my hierarchy to narrow this down. You can actually even select from different hierarchies also. I mentioned that you could have multiple hierarchies. So if I wanted to use my seasonal hierarchy, I could find my products in this way as well. If I just wanted to pick any product here to talk about price. Every product has a purchase price and a sell price, but we know that's not always that easy. So obviously you can purchase from multiple people and across multiple currencies and multiple quantities, and you can sell that way also. So you can sell in multiple currencies, you can sell at multiple quantities. You can also have different prices in different stores. If you have a simple situation where every store uses the same price, then you can just use the base sales price, you set the price here, and you're fine. That's all that you need to do. All of the different channels will respect this as that sales price. But because it's not always that easy, we have the ability to set specific prices either for specific customers or for specific stores. So I'm actually going to skip back here for just 1 second to talk about store price groups. So like the hierarchies, you can have as many of these as you'd like. Basically, this is going to be a collection of stores or channels, and you can then use these to set prices by that group. So again, it could be outlet stores, everything is automatically 30% lower, or it could be your metropolitan stores or have a higher markup than your rural stores. It could be you just use different price groups for your electronics versus your sporting goods. So you can basically create as many different price groups that are needed. And then when you're doing your pricing for your products, you can use those price groups. So when you get into the more granular pricing, we call those trade agreements. So now I can set the price that I want to set. In this case, I'm going to set my sale price. And I can say it's for everybody, or you can choose for it to be a specific group. So now this is where I could set the price for, say, my mall stores or my Eastern region stores or however I want to do that. And then which product you're setting the price for. And now within this, you can actually set price per unit of measure. You can set price per currency. So you can quickly see how this can get very granular and that you can pretty much meet the need of anyone's pricing. So this would all be considered your base price or your regular price. In the event of a valid trade agreement found, then we'll use that rather than the base price. If you don't use trade agreements, then we'll use this base price here. We have additional kind of more retail-specific methods for pricing as well, and that's our pricing, promotions, and discounts. I'm actually going to start with price adjustment, and this actually shows a lot of the same capabilities across the different types. The difference here is that a price adjustment is also considered your regular price. So from an accounting perspective or from a reporting perspective, if a price is calculated based on a price adjustment, we're still considering that to be your regular price. So if you think again how we're going to determine the price, if you only have a base price, then we'll use that. If you have trade agreements, then we'll use those. If you have a price adjustment, then we'll use that. And we'll use that to determine what your base price is. So this is where you can specify where those prices are going to go. This would be the price group that these are going to apply to. You can set up a validation period. So this is date effective also. So I could choose that I want to set this to take place next week and for 1 month only or something like that. I could do an advanced validation period where you can actually do kind of your happy hour pricing. You could set up Monday, Wednesday, Friday between 4 and 6 and have a recurrence pattern for those. And then the actual lines are going to be what the prices are. So now in here, you can actually set this to be a percentage off of the regular base price, an amount off, so it could be either 10% off, $10 off, or you can actually set a specific price. You can just say, I want this to be $10, would be the different methods that you could do. And you can see that you can do that at the item level, at the category level, or even at the variant level. So you'll see that kind of pattern throughout, whether it's determining an assortment or doing pricing or doing replenishment. You can do that at the category level, the product level, or at the variant level. The key thing about a price adjustment is that's also considered your regular price. When we look at the other types of discounts, the discount here basically has those same capabilities, only this will be counted as a discount. So the regular price will be recorded as well as the discount price that will be recorded. So from an accounting perspective, from a reporting perspective, you can get different results from using a discount versus a price adjustment. The next type would be your quantity discounts. So in this case, you can set up the various products that are going to be eligible for a quantity discount. So whether it's buy one, it's $5 each, but if you buy 3, you get them for $3 each or something like that. And again, that can be set up at the category level, the product level, or for a specific variant. That can be set up for specific price groups over specific times. The final discount to talk about would be the mix and match price group. So this actually has a lot more flexibility to it, and where you can set up different conditions that need to be met before a discount is applied, and then different types of discounts. If you look at the header type information for this, it's actually all the same. You'll have the same price group capabilities, the same validation period capabilities, but the actual lines of the discount here are different, and that you can have different price groups. So what this one says is, if I buy any 2 products from the apparel and footwear category, then I'll get a free water bottle, is what this is actually showing here. So this can be your buy one, get one. It can be, buy two, get the least expensive for free. Buy one, get one 10% off. But basically, you can set up different line groups where the criteria needs to be met before the discount is applied. The next thing I want to talk about is loyalty. So also within the system, we have the ability to set up multiple loyalty schemes. So we have one for our apparel and sporting goods stores, and we have one for our electronic stores. If we look at the footwear loyalty scheme, same kind of pattern where you can actually choose it at the category level, the product level, or the variant level, and then you can assign different point values to it. So what this one is saying is for every $10 I spend, I get 1 point. You can actually change this to be units as well. So this could be for every 10 units I buy, I get 1 point. In redemption, you specify it as a payment method, and then you can set kind of the redemption value there too. In this case, it's 1-to-1, so 1 point equals $1. So loyalty customers can be used across the channels, and loyalty customers can have multiple cards. So if I look at Stuart here, he has actually, in this case, he has 2 cards, both for the footwear scheme. He could have 1 card for footwear and 1 card for electronics. So you could have 1 card per each scheme. In this case, it's showing an example where he has a non-tender card and a tender card. So the example here is that you could actually have different family members with cards where they can use them to accrue points, but only this card could be used to redeem the points. It's just kind of a family plan type scenario there. So now if I switch back into the point of sale, if I scan or swipe that loyalty card, then that customer is going to automatically be added. I believe the number is 3. Or not. Excellent.